welcome back to Andertons TV. We are going to go pedal crazy because today's special guest is Lee Kiernan from Idols, which it's mind-blowing that you are here given just how massively popular the band has become in the last decade or so. Super grateful that you've given up the time to come and share your thoughts on music and pedals and the state of everything.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, I love that I'm here. Get to talk about pedals for an hour or so, and then
100%. I don't know a huge amount about Idols, but I know that they were together for a long time searching for success, and then you joined and success came. So do you credit yourself with transforming the band from...
No. Not at all. No.
But tell us about that, because the band had been going for what, 5-6 years before you joined, without seemingly, making it, whatever making it is.
More without purpose.
Right.
Was all. Being young, starting a band, having fun, doing whatever they felt like doing. And then when I joined, it was more it continued like that for like a year, and then it was more of a case of like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So we just put our head down and worked, and it worked.
That first album, it's much rawer than the second album was only a year after the first album. So my gut in my head says, is that first album a collection of songs that have been written for over 10 years or whatever? And but it's very raw. You can feel its kind of sort of punk roots, I suppose. And there's quite a marked evolution into the second album of all of a sudden parts are becoming more interesting, a bit more complicated. There feels like there's more attention paid to how are the guitars going to sound, how is the track going to be put together. How do you describe that kind of...
I mean, pretty much bang on, really. It's like Brutalism was... it wasn't like it's such a long period of time in writing. We had a few EPs before, and just stepping up and learning in that. But Brutalism was more of a case of chucking stuff at the wall and figuring it out. And me and Bowen playing over the top of each other all the time and not realizing that two slapback delays at the same time all the time sounds terrible. So we had to figure that out. And then each album after was more of an attempt at growth, a purpose. Everything, there was more thought behind things. Like Joe and Bo have always been a really big driving force in what our album should sound like, or the purpose behind them. Like a big thing we've always said throughout is, you write something, you record it or whatever, you demo it, and it's like, why?
Okay.
Why does that need to be there? Does it need to be there? So, write, remove, reevaluate. Does it need to be back in there? Not. It's more like that. Do me and Bowen need to play at the same time? Does it need to be more singular? And so on.
Are you quite prolific writers? Does a lot of material come out?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Like, we just keep working. We keep writing. We just keep doing it while we can, 'cause who knows how long it lasts.
Oh yeah, nobody does. But I think it feels like you've done the difficult second album, and as in it's clearly not going to be a flash in the pan band.
I think we've been very lucky as well with like points in time, like what was it, after Joy we played Ali Pali, and then COVID hit, but it felt like we got to a point where we were quite safe. So touring wise, we managed to tour around COVID somehow. Like, we kept fitting in these like slots that no one else was falling into. Our tours were just booked and there in the times before or after like countries would open up and shut, and like we just grabbed those opportunities with both hands and just worked as much as we could.
Is it bonkers worldwide for you, or is there still places where you're well known and some places where you're unknown?
It's always like that, I think, but it's been very steady. I mean, I love playing other countries. I think it's really exciting. Like, playing Mexico is absolutely incredible. Like, they go off, and it is really, really grown now, which I find incredible, because I think our first show there was like 2,000 to 4,000 cap room. Our first show, because of several reasons of why shows got cancelled or couldn't happen, like COVID and so on. The demand kept growing, So that, you know, 4 years of trying to play there to then actually get to play there, to then playing this enormous room, and everyone just got absolutely, like, just completely went off. I remember leaving just thinking, like, what the f***? Like, how did that happen? Also, I think a light set fire and it fell onto Joe. I remember looking at him and thinking, Joe's on fire. I looked at one of
This isn't part of the
Jake,
set.
one of our texts. I was like, he's on fire, right? He's like, yep. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
It does look like you have an enormous amount of, maybe fun is the wrong word. I mean, it is fun, but it's like they're a real expression of just a joy of performing your stuff. It feels very alive and unrehearsed and just like, let's embrace this and let's just do this thing.
It's close. It is like that, but it's not. We rehearsed so much.
Right.
Because for like that first year before we released Brutalism, we didn't have any shows. Well, we went to the practice room 3-4 days a week, and we practiced our songs. And it was like about this big, you know, and we just full blast, terrible, can't hear a thing, every frequency you can imagine, just this big cloud of sound, and just bash the songs every day. So then when we were able to go on a tour,
You were tight.
Ready to tour.
Yeah.
And we kept that up. We always rehearse our songs. We always are ready to go on tour. We're a live band, and we want to be the best we can be. So we practice as much as possible. Practicing the songs, so then when you're running around like a break, you can just...
I think that's what I meant.
Play it.
It doesn't... It feels like you could, if you wanted to, mix up a set list. If a song's going the right way, just keep it going. It doesn't. That's what I meant by unrehearsed. It was, as in, you're
it's
very...
It's not staged.
Yeah, you're very in control of the moment of just like, we can just do what we need to do here. And I like it. It's exciting. I mean, that's a big... For me, I think live music that happens and just tries to create a sort of a, I don't know, like a highly polished reproduction of an album in a very sort of managed format is a bit like, well, you might as well just watch MTV if that even exists anymore. But, you know, I like to see shows on the edge of a bit of chaos.
Oh,
you know?
It's definitely on the edge of a bit of chaos. I mean, just looking at this is on the edge of chaos constantly. This will just all of a sudden not work. And then I look at my tech Jim and I'm like, and then he goes, and then you're like,
just press things, see what happens.
Here's a real fun one, which I love doing.
People will make will draw conclusions about who's influenced you and you know, growing up from your choice of guitar. Although it's just bizarre, you know, Mustang on one side, Jackson Dinky on the other. That's an interesting kind of mix. Obviously, tons and tons of noisy pedals doing crazy things to your sound. So I think people will begin to put a picture together of the types of players who influenced you. But tell me about that.
Really? Probably won't get it right. No.
Okay, so tell me about them. Like when you know, if you're in your teens and you started playing the guitar or whatever, who were you? Who did you first hear and thought, that's cool?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was mostly like when I was a kid was like my mum playing Motown all the time, or then my dad playing the Beatles and Phil Collins. Like George Harrison is one of my first guitar loves completely. Yeah. We were talking before about the economy of notes, shall we say, and I think sometimes George Harrison plays some of the most perfect guitar lines, and there's not much going on, but there's a flow, there's a purpose, and you know, it makes sense to the song. Brian May is again one of my biggest influences. That's the one. It's not just about guitar, it's about tone. You know, the consideration that was put into how to make a sound, you know, having 3 amps with 3 separate delays so he could get that chorus. You know, he could have used a chorus pedal, but you know, he went about it a different way, and I think that's that's a really important thing to think about, because you can get a pedal for something, but you can also get the same sound with 3 pedals, or just think about like doing it a different way, and what does that do, and what's the purpose of doing it with 3 pedals? Is it convoluted, or is it actually a moment where you can actually do that, turn one of them off, and then automatically have a new sound that you can go through? I love stuff like that.
People might be surprised at the artists that you've named so far, and sort of going, it doesn't feel like any of those players would have particularly influenced how idols have sort of approached playing music. Were there other players as you got slightly older?
I mean, loads.
Yeah.
It just never ends.
Just
you know,
tons.
like the Strokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a huge influence. Gang of Four changed a lot of my thinking in what guitar should do.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with them. So
Gang of Four is
a British band, or?
Yes, post-punk.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a different style of playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not necessarily solos, but it's very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very, it's like slapback delay. And it's just hitting that one note for ages, like ding 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 ding. And so you could probably, if you know our music, you'd know that's something we do a lot.
Yeah.
But then other like huge influences for me are a lot of metal, like a lot of metal. I love things like Bon Jovi or Slayer, Metallica.
So right across the genres of, from
honestly,
like sort of bit of 80s hair metal all the way through to
through
some thrash,
Gojira.
right.
Like I'll happily sit on my own and just chug away. And then this is why I got Jacksons.
Do you have a very different, well, not very different, but is there a sort of a healthy and creative conflict between the guitar bands that you grew up and that Bowen likes? Or?
Oh yeah, definitely. But we also come together. There's certain. I think for the whole band, there's a completely different.
It's a melting pot of.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been fun. But then we all come together with certain bands like the Strokes or Gang of Four. And there's a modern band called Proto Martyr. Greg, the guitarist, is one of my favourite guitarist of my generation, I guess, as he's the same age. But I think he's absolutely incredible the way he does things.
Tell us about the sort of the evolution of the rig then, because the early Idol stuff that I heard didn't look like it needed a board like this. It looked like it needed a rat pedal and a loud amplifier.
It had a rat pedal.
But quite quickly into the second album, you can tell that, I don't know, was it some royalties came through and all of a sudden you went from 1 pedal to 25? But
honestly, it was like constantly buying pedals on tour, stopping off at music shops. So like when we got to America, and then you go to every single town and pick up a JHS pedal, which I'd never had before. Like the Earthquaker pedals, it was an obsession that just never ended. I mean, it can't end, that's why. You buy 12 to 50 different overdrives. Why? But you do.
I agree. The whole music industry is built on people's obsession with needing a dozen overdrive pedals.
There's technically 3 on there now. You got the Interstellar Overdriver, the Gary, and the Tone Job, which actually 4. There's an EP booster under there as well. So like, I know they're not necessarily all overdrive, but once you start, they all kind of do the same thing, just a little bit different.
It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Because your guitar and amp choice, particularly with this Mustang that you've got here, feels very constant through your playing, and then obviously the pedals evolve and change a lot. I mean, I love the fact that you've brought this down. I love the fact of how battered it is, and also as well just how, what's the right word? You found a really affordable kind of mid-price simple Fender guitar. Obviously you've done some modifications to it, but fundamentally it works for you, and there's what is it about that you've bonded with in such a important way?
I have no idea. From the day I got it, I mean, Bowen and I had some guitars stolen early days of Idols, and Fender heard about it because we were trying to find them, and David at Fender said, come in and try some things. And I tried this, and then because it was a rosewood neck, I don't like rosewood necks. I don't know why. There's no logic to it whatsoever. So I asked whether or not it could be done with a maple. He sorted it out, and I bought this. This was the first guitar I bought for Idols.
Right.
And it's been there ever since. And I've smashed it up, re-glued it, you know, snapped it, the neck, you know, the headstock's been snapped and redoweled. And
yeah, I saw these marks down the side, and I couldn't work out what they. At some point, you'd have weird tuners in there or something. But no, there's a. You were saying it. You've cracked the. I think at the point where somebody cracks the headstock here, most people will just go, okay, well, it's time for this guitar to go to the great gig in the sky. But no, you've repaired it, doweled it, put it back together.
I just say, I think I love growing with it.
Right. So that's an interesting. Do you think guitars that are inherently super simple force you to grow technically or try to get more out of the guitar because you haven't got, like, you know, 5 different pickup positions or a tremolo system or something? No.
The only reason for this is when I was young, I think the first guitar I bought myself was a Tom DeLonge.
Okay.
The Strat.
Yeah.
And it had one pickup.
Yeah.
And I loved those.
Seymour Duncan Invader.
Yeah, exactly. And they were amazing pickups. I loved them. And I just loved the idea that there was no faff. And then when we were touring, I had my telly I got from my friend Luke, which is an American, but you know, jumping about, hitting things, getting in the crowd, tone knob changing, the pickup selector sliding around. And so then I'd start like taping things down, and then, you know, that would wear off and move again. I thought, I don't use them.
Right.
So I removed them. So for like years, it was just like ripping stuff out of the guitar that wasn't necessary. It isn't until like the last 2 years where you're like, 3 years, 4 years, where you're like, you do need some of those things. So they've started to creep back in.
Well, it does feel like it's relatively sort of polar opposite approach to the other guitar.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah, this is...
most people go, if you're trying to avoid things that might go wrong, like having a Floyd Rose and locking nut and all that kind of stuff, is just...
Yeah, you can't dive bomb on this.
Is that a big part of the attraction? Is it just...
Yeah.
Right.
Just, you know, again, this is a fun guitar. This is supposed to be fun. I'm supposed to, you know, like, there's always this like section in Danny and Adelco Live where we will go off.
Right.
And just do whatever we feel like at the time, you know, whatever leads us on to something. And then, you know, that's where I can do some tapping and dive bombing and just have fun. And that's what this is for.
Love...
Swing the guitar around by the bar. Yeah. And
I love that you appear to be completely unbothered and unrestricted through people's perception of the kind of music that you might play based on the choice of guitar that you've made.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
Doesn't matter to you, that's what I mean. I love the fact, I think for a lot of people, and I'd probably put myself included, I'd feel very self-conscious about potentially going to do a gig with a Jackson Dinky.
Because but look at it, it looks amazing. So why would this matter?
I love
this is what I also grew up on.
I love this, that we all need to take a leaf out of your book and just go, stop worrying about it. Well, is there any kind of style of guitar that you would go, no, that's too... I'd feel self-conscious with that. Like a really blinged up Paul Reed Smith or a crazy shaped BC Rich or something. Or...
I've never played a Paul Reed Smith, ever. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't suit me, if that makes sense. It wouldn't look right. I don't, you know, like E355?
335.
335 doesn't, not appealing to me. Yeah. You know, like... There is a thing about, even though this has got loads of stuff to go wrong, yes, it's still very bog standard. It's a piece of wood with some electrics in. Hit about, it will keep going.
Yeah.
You know, this one won't go out of tune, which is wonderful. It's got Jim Root pickups, which I love. My first actual active pickups in one of my guitars. But this, you know, again, just a piece of wood that you can throw around and make sounds with. If we go to Scum, you know, it's just Gary and Tone Job.
So, and is a typical Idols gig, you know, have you got a rack of 6 or 7 guitars and changing them every other
about
song?
6, yeah.
Okay. But, or are you, if it's feeling good on the night, are you generally sticking with one guitar through a show?
No.
You like to change it up?
It's not even that I like. Sometimes they just don't work with certain songs,
Right.
certain pedals, and like I would like to stick with, say, this for a long time. But that pickup is so thin and aggressive. It's slightly broken. It's a creamery pickup.
I don't know. It's okay. So just another
like incredible pickup maker. But I've broken it, and it does something, and I just don't.
You know,
I don't want to lose it.
In 50 years' time, people will be talking about the mythical Lee Kiernan tone of the broken, and there'll be pickup manufacturers charging thousands of dollars to break the pickup in the way
before
that
they
you
do that,
broke it.
can they just make me one? So I have a second one. Yeah, it screams a lot, like
As in
involuntarily
feeds back.
But not, like sometimes it's punishing how horrible the noise is.
So you got a Mustang, you got a Dinky. What are the other 4 or 5 guitars that might be in the rack?
I have my Esquire.
Okay,
which,
a simple single pickup.
Again, yeah. But that was like my first love, like Tellys and Esquires. Like that felt like my. That's what sang to me. That was what I thought I should be playing. That Esquire is a 70th anniversary edition. One of those like guitars where when you hold it, you play it, and you go, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah.
The same with that. It just felt like it was mine. That one does as well. And then Fender sent me one of the blue Tellys that I forget the name of, like Pro Series. I think it was like the first Pro Series Telly.
So
and I left everything in it.
Just a stock 2 pickup, normal American Telly.
But the neck pickup was so good on it. And the day I got it, we were in our rehearsal room writing, and I put it on the neck pickup and switched on like a big reverb, and then that was it. That was When the Lights Come On.
Telly neck pickup, big reverb. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Made for this.
It sounded it just sounded perfect.
Yeah.
So that stayed stock.
Yeah.
That actually ended up being like a guitar for a lot of crawler stuff, because it actually required more nuance from the guitars than screaming bridge pickup.
This is on a lot of your recorded music though, right?
Yeah, loads. I mean, like from Joy onwards, because I think it came in after we did Brutalism, but it's on every album, every single album.
That's great. And so everything, I mean, you got a couple of humbuckers on that, haven't you?
Yeah.
But have you got anything Gibson-y, or is that not really your...
I don't. More because I'm afraid to break them.
Okay.
The headstocks, let's say, don't stay on very well.
You mean you'd be afraid to break it whilst they were in transit, or
no,
just
me
on
breaking
stage?
it, yeah.
Literally, you just turn around banging something.
I don't feel like I don't feel comfortable enough just thrashing it about.
Right.
I have Gibsons I want. Like I desperately want a 70s Explorer. Me and Byron have a deal that for our 40th birthdays we're going to buy each other our dream guitars. They just keep going up in price, don't they? They just they never stop rising.
So you're secretly hoping he'll buy you a 70s Explorer.
Yeah,
what
the
does he
natural
want?
with the gold.
Or the Carina. Yeah.
And then he wants the 70s Flying V natural.
Oh, okay. This is like the
So they're literally our 2 dream guitars.
Yeah. When we were in Nashville a couple of years ago, Gibson took us to the Vault, and I hadn't realised. I had always assumed that the most valuable Gibson would be some sort of 59 burst or whatever it is like that. Apparently, it is those very original 58 Carina Vs and Explorers and something. Just because they made so few of them. I don't want to say like it's less than 10, but it was some crazy low number. So yeah, if you've got one of those, it's like that's some serious dough if you want one of those.
Even the reissues are like 13 grand.
Yeah, the really sort of authentic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
It's not happening.
Yeah. You never know. You just need one song to be on the next Star Wars movie or something like that, and then all of a sudden you can buy 3 of them.
I don't think Star Wars. I don't see Star Wars coming for us.
You never know.
You could do all the laser sounds.
I mean, that would be a dream. I'd love it. I love Star Wars. Let's just make sure that's out there so they do come.
Yeah, 100%. So we got a flavour of the kind of thing that floats your boat guitar-wise. Amp wise, you're saying you're touring typically as a 2 amp kind of setup, and it's 3 amp. Okay, so what's that?
It used to be 2, then we realised there were certain things that we could get by switching them.
Yeah.
You know, we actually, Bo and I tried to like add like, you know, as many amps as we could. We thought more amps, more sound, but then actually phasing nightmares.
Right.
You know, like we got a bit ahead of ourselves. So it got to a point where it's like 3 is actually perfect. And we used to have loads of big cabs, like 4x12s and everything. Again, unnecessary now. Everything's mic'd.
Mm-hmm.
Stage volume's actually very important.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all on in-ears now. So having a set stage volume is key for our sound engineer to make it the best it can sound. Everything's
Amps
like
off stage
2x12s.
or on stage?
No, they're on stage.
They're on stage. So what are you,
Because we still
hearing?
do feedback a lot.
Fine. So you're getting a vibe.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think I still find that quite difficult to. Again, I've not done the sort of gigs that you're doing, but I still find that quite a weird concept that you would just hear your guitar in ear, and I still sort of fit, particularly again, I can't even work out in my head, so how do you even do feedback and stuff like that if you're nowhere near where the amp is?
I had the same thought, like we all did, like we were ridiculously loud on stage,
right?
Like there were shows where we were like 120 dB on stage.
Yeah.
There was a point where like Joe had 4, is it M4s, the monitors?
Okay.
They're ridiculously loud. You have 4 of them in front of him. But then me and Bowen would have 2 each, and then Deb would have 1, and then John would have like 4 or something, and a fill, and then we were like, still can't hear the drums, and you're like, why not? Oh, maybe it's because I've got like this amount of amps blaring behind me and the same coming back at me. So one of our monitor engineers at the time was like, I've got an idea. Let's add more monitors to the side. So you've got side fills and back fills. So you have drums everywhere. We were like, yeah, that sounds amazing. It was, but it was destroying us.
Yeah.
So it's like 120 dB on stage. So I had to change.
Yeah, you can't. The old human ears can't take that for too long.
Also, like consistency. Like Wiz, our front of house sound engineer, considering he does Sono,
right.
So he's very well versed at loud.
Loud, yeah.
He was like, he just got this like muffled sound flying off stage because all these fills everywhere and everything. And we took the plunge to in-ears. It was a weird change, but it's been brilliant.
Right.
Like having switching systems and in-ear monitors and everything being like more finely tuned. Yeah. It's all still like on the edge of chaos, but it's like manageable now.
Manageable chaos.
That's
what everyone should strive for, I think, live. It's manageable chaos. That's a band name. What's the 3 amps? So I think you said before you've got a Marshall 1987 X, yeah, and you've got a high watt
88.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with that.
It's a new one.
Right.
It's got KT88s.
Right.
It's just a really big bodied, like it's got such a warm and good mids.
And what's the third one?
I don't know, is that a good way of describing anything?
Yeah, I
it sounded
think so.
terrible. It's an amazing amp. I love it. The third one is my PV Deuce from the 70s.
Yes.
It's a solid state preamp with 6L6 power amp.
Yes.
It's like the low end response on it is incredible because it used to be a twin in that place. And I remember years ago we did a radio session in New York. Like that thing where you go in and like we got this, and again, like I've said to you, like we're not that precious. We'll play through anything and figure out. We got enough pedals to figure something out. I got given this PV, and when you first look at it and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, what is this? I've never seen this before. I have no idea how this is going to go. I plugged in. I was like, what? It was so big. I had no idea what it was, and I left, and I was like, all I remember about it was called a Deuce, and it took me years to find one. And then when I finally did, I found out it was actually the amp that Dire Straits used.
Ooh.
Which is also
the actual amp, or just the same?
Like the same. The Deuce was his
right.
amp.
Right. I thought you meant you had the actual amp.
No, I mean that would actually that would kill me.
When I first started at Andertons, Music Man had launched this idea of a solid state preamp with a valve power section. And it seemed at the time that the most manufacturers, if they were trying to do like a hybrid thing, would go with the opposite. They'd have a valve preamp and a solid state output section. And the Music Man sounded fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. They weighed a ton, but I guess people just wanted smaller, cheaper. So eventually everything just became solid state, you know, and then you had your heritage kind of valve amplifiers. Again, we're going slightly off topic now, but they're sort of that era, maybe slightly before that sort of 70s kind of era. The idea of valve amps distorting wasn't even necessarily like a desirable thing. So I think people were playing with solid state technology to almost like clean it up. So it's mad to think that, you know, there was a time when distortion was undesirable. It's like, what a crazy world that must have been.
It is pretty good that happened though, because solid state clean is so good.
Yeah.
I got a PV Pacer, which is just solid state. And again, I think the clean tone on it is phenomenal.
I've read some old brochures of a Burns amplifier called an Orbit, which was one of the very first all solid state amplifiers ever. And the sales pitch is that it's better than valve because it doesn't distort.
Yeah.
And you're sort of going like, what are we, like, so alien now to think that you would ever pitch a solid state amplifier as better than valve. But it
definitely went backwards again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's about, I think it's more about character, isn't it? So what do you want your amp to do? If you want it to have character, you need valves. It's like that's the thing. There's something in there it's kind of living. It's like there's a peak to it. The valves have a little peak, and then when they start dying, they change. And if you can get vintage tubes, like I've got vintage tubes in one of my Deuces, and it's nothing that sounds like that. Like it's got the original 70s tubes in it.
Yeah, I mean it's just, I mean that again is, who knows how long. And
it does make a difference. I didn't believe it, but it does.
But you know, we're talking about a period in the sort of 50s and 60s where every single home appliance that there was needed a valve to make. So you know, so the market for quality valves was huge. Now it's, I don't even know what you use valves in anymore. Guitar amps. Is it like some old radar equipment or something?
Not really.
In the event of a nuclear war, don't worry, your valve amp will still be working.
Yeah. Dancer's got some really fun sounds.
Yeah, man.
So the verse starts with like an octave down with everyone else. And then it goes into a little trem part. And then the chorus goes into a big splashy, it's more like a moment where hitting the guitar makes the splash. Which I find very fun.
And the 3 amps, are you doing something sort of complicated, wet, dry, wet, or are you just are all 3 amps getting the same thing and you're just
kind of
layering it up?
It's always 2 on. It will always be the high watt and one of the other 2.
And so what's the so the third one is there as a backup, just in case?
No, it's basically, it goes high watt's on all the time.
I see what you mean.
The other 2 switch between each other. So if it's like a big distortion chorus, that'll be the Marshall. So it'll go high watt and Marshall. So the high watt's the body, the Marshall's that distortion sound. You know, it's one of the greatest sounds that's ever existed is Marshall distortion. And then if I want something that's really good to take clarity and pedals, it switches to the Deuce, high watt and Deuce. So again, body and then character of the Deuce. And that's that. That's all it is. But then obviously because I got switching system, it does it all for me.
So let's get into this thing then. Now, I don't know what you've got in some of these pedals, but this pedal board weighed more than an AC30. So that's like that was like wow.
It's all the power blocks.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're all under there. I don't know if you can. You know, like so these remote switchers, there's MIDI switchers under here. There's 3 junction boxes at the back. It's all
bag of plectrums, couple of slides. Who knows what else might sneak in there for depending on where you're going.
You need a slide, don't you? You never know when you want to play a slide.
So look, so obviously the gig rig makes using a board with that many pedals on it just infinitely easier.
Yeah.
And I assume before you got the gig rig, you were tap dancing relentlessly all over this board.
It was bigger actually before I got that.
More pedals on it even.
I think it was roughly about the same amount, but it was 2 boards side by side with no switching system.
Oh, because it's too difficult to lean over and...
Yeah, because you can't go underneath and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. So I don't really know...
It was a nightmare, basically. You'd have to switch on like 5 pedals at the same time. But then it got really fun, because then you'd actually think about which pedals you had to turn on for the chorus change.
Yeah.
And which pedals you could turn on after that won't affect, say, the shift in sound and like.
So you didn't have a tech furiously playing. What's that game where you bash the?
Oh yeah, we only had Gavin on his own then, so watching him run around and fix our pedal boards was quite a laugh.
So that I know, and obviously you've got it wired up to some expression as well over here. I don't know, was this like a freeze pedal or something? And just
that's a piano expression pedal.
Let's just start. Where does it go into the tuner?
That's on its own thing. That's independent.
That's like always on, coming out of the
that's
G3.
just like your dead, what's it called, kill.
Yeah, so what's the first pedal in, or does it not even really work that with the G3?
Well, so kind of, it does. I mean, the EP booster is on its own. Mm-hmm. That's the first pedal, basically. Put in an extra bit
always
of
signal,
always on.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the harmonist.
I quite like the fact that you've hidden the EP3, because then it avoids the temptation to ever switch it off just to see it. It's one of those, like, just turn it on, forget that it's even there.
Yeah.
Leave it
well,
on
it doesn't
forever.
need to be anywhere else. It doesn't change in where the volume is for live. I mean, other purposes you might, like if you're recording.
After the boost, where do we go from there?
The harmonist, which is mostly on the S bend. So you hold it down and
do you mind just give us let's we might as well hear some of these beastly things.
I mean, I don't
want
know
to hear this broken pickup as well, just see what the it's like. This you're going to be the new Peter Green. People will be talking about you in, like, did he mean to do it? Was it an accident? How do we replicate it?
Right now it's just the EP booster going into the tone job and Gary.
Right.
And then if I put this back to normal-ish in some respect. So
it's kind of whammy sort of vibe. That's what you're using it for.
What I like about this is, it does it for you. Right. So you can actually hear me speaking through this. And I use it on when the lights come on. Mm-hmm. I got to remember it.
we can take an iTunes break.
Can't remember it. It's something like that. It goes like that, basically.
I love that. Again, take the pedal out of that, and you can't play the song, right? It's so integral to it.
Yeah, it would just be.
Yeah. So so harmonist for again a bit of the sort of that whammy pitch shifting kind of effect. What's happening after that? Are we into some of the actual fuzzes and?
No, then we're on the switching system, so everything's independent. Because I got so many pedals, some of them are paired up. Certain pedals that just often aren't on at the same time.
Yeah.
So the chorus and the ring mod are paired up on the same setting, and so is these two.
Yeah.
The Stamen by Jolo. Do you know them?
No.
Absolutely incredible pedal maker. So these 3 pedals.
Yeah. 3 of
my favorite ever pedals.
Let me again just chuck them on. I just want to hear kind of like some of the different riffy kind of noises that they make.
Chuck them on. Wow. This is when it gets to. I can chuck 2 of them on. You got the Twin Peaks, which is a tremolo.
Yeah.
It's actually a really characterful tremolo. You can do anything with it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. I love using it for the hard cut on it.
Yeah.
In Roy, let's just go to that. So this is where it gets slow.
That's fine. This is the wonder of editing. Yeah. People will just go, here's the pedal, boom.
Gotta find the song. It'll be around here somewhere. I have the Twin Peaks running into this expressionator.
Right.
And this piano expression.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to have a parameter, how fast and how slow it would go, which is what the expressionator does. You can set it to a point. But I also use the Twin Peaks a lot on other songs, and I don't want that.
Right.
I want it to be independent. However, often when you have TRS cable in your expression, it sends a little 5-volt, so it tells the pedal that it's in expression mode. And you can't turn it off unless you have a button. But actually, David at Drolo sent this
So that's
schematic, and a friend at Frettronics
so this sort of bypasses
made
the
it.
expression pedal mode, does it?
It basically just kills the 5-volt signal.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then this doesn't believe there's a cable in there.
Yeah,
Very
it's clever
nifty.
enough,
I mean,
isn't it? Yeah.
it's so many things for just like a very simple. But then even having that put on and modified, not so simple.
Yeah,
to
no,
do.
for sure.
So this was the quick fix. So we send ring mod and I don't know what else. Gary, ring mod, tone job, and the reverberation.
Yes.
That's also broken. And then I control it with this.
Do it.
So. So it
It's a
springs
good
back.
sounding. What's the fuzz pedal that's on there, or the drive pedal that's on there? Or
it's
did you
just-
say there's two of them?
It's just Gary and the reverberation machine.
Is it? We've done a different video on the Gary before, but it's. I mean, we'll come to that because obviously it's your pedal, isn't it? But aggressive is a good word, isn't it? It's got, maybe it's a combination with the pickup on there, but it's very like.
And the ring mod.
Right.
You know, like the ring mod's adding like cut
Yeah.
digital sound. Oh, no, it's not really digital, but
so-
it's
sorry, so
always
you've
like
got-
an electronic-y cut to it.
You've got the ringer bringer on as well there.
Yes.
Because I'm not really hearing what I typically associate with a ring modulator on there.
No, it's just so it has that low droney
Right. Okay.
electronic.
So you're that's more of a drone setting than much more that sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not
I just wanted it to have that synthy,
Yeah.
more of a synthy sound than a guitar sound.
Yeah.
And that's what that's providing, along with the hard cut-in tremolo.
What's the yellow pedal?
This,
Yeah.
that is the Count to 5, which
So that's
is...
on. I noticed that's obviously linked to another expression pedal. Is it over here?
So that is used on Jungle. Again, here we go. What is absolutely life-changing about a switching system is live. You've set everything. You've done You've set every single sound to the switching system. All I ever have to do is change dials between songs.
Yeah.
So it's not so bad. But then obviously I just step on what I want.
Yeah.
8 pedals on, 5 pedals off, 1 pedal on, and so on.
Yeah.
Done. But it's not the fastest thing to just show someone
see.
something.
Because you can't effectively. You've got no way to override that and just say just turn that one pedal on and off.
No.
Right. Fine.
So
So you got to find a patch that pedal's in.
basically,
I got it.
okay.
What would you do if you just got a blues gig?
I just put Gary on. I wouldn't use anything else. I just have.
Do you know Mustang Sally? You just go,
Yeah.
hang
I
on a
don't
second.
actually.
Good
Does
for
it
you.
involve 1 note and 7 pedals? Otherwise, I'm not your guy. Seems that it's not doing the job.
Fine. So
Which happens.
there's some cool noises coming out of there.
Well, it's a granular delay, so you get all and you can change the repeated octaves and so on. So it's really fun, but sometimes it's
I picked the worst one to ask you to explain, didn't I?
nah. It's just most of the time you just unplug it, plug it back in, and then
Yes.
you know.
You'd be amazed. You're giving away all the secrets of how Andertons
Turn it
fix
off.
anything that doesn't work. Yeah.
So it looks like it might actually be back. No, but I'm not getting the high octave. So usually what happens there is the high octave comes in. It's doing the effect, but not the octave. No, that's really going to bother me.
Well, we might revisit. I'm interested in this reverberation machine because Death by Audio is a brand that I think we've dabbled with over the years, but I know Oz is a massive fan, and I know the Interstellar Overdrive's one of their sort of famous ones, but I've not heard the reverb. Is that just a big over-the-top reverb, or?
No, it's kind of like just it's an amazing distortion.
Oh, okay.
So I use
it's a
it a lot.
distorted reverb then, as such.
Well, it's a distortion with reverb.
Right.
So I use it a lot for the distortion. So that was on for the chorus sound of Roy. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually on the bridges of this song for Jungle.
I'm beginning to see that, yes, so there's no visual indication from the G3 which pedals are on which patch, right? So you've just got to try and remember.
2, 9 and 10.
Oh, I see, it's that little 1 to 12 thing. Right, I see.
So that tone job, the Micro Dream, and the reverberation machine. And then that's just...
Some great sound. Oh, it's nice. It's got like a shimmer on the reverb as well.
I mean, that's on the dark reverb.
Right.
And then with my setup, when we're doing it live, I'll get into the amp and feedback with that as well.
Nice.
It's not normally with this guitar. This guitar, if I get into the amp, will just scream.
You've obviously collaborated with Earthquaker on the Gary, and we'll talk about that, but it's not the only Earthquaker pedal you got on the board there. So when did you meet those guys? What was your first Earthquaker pedal?
The Organizer.
Right, okay.
I don't know why. I saw it online. I thought this thing.
I need to be more organised. Maybe that.
I just wanted like different sound, you know. I love the organ pedal, and it's become quite. It's used a lot.
Right.
Throughout the records, like even in the early days. So on Brutalism, it was even on. And I spoke to them very, very early in our career. They were like, "Yeah, we'll sort you out." And I was like, "What the?" You know, like when you're like, there's this moment when a company says they'll, you know, give you a discount, and you're like, "Oh my god, my life has changed." Like everything's so expensive. And we had nothing, so we were spending every last penny on equipment.
That is the perversity of life for a band in the music industry, which is when you have nothing, nobody gives you anything.
That's right.
And then when you have everything, everyone gives you everything. It's like impossible to buy anything. And it's like.
But then back then, I had nothing, and they were.
So that first little breakthrough
so they sent me the Organizer,
amazing.
And that was it. That ended up on loads. There's a song called Faith in the City on Brutalism. It's just like an organ. It's just like ringing out chords, but with an organ on.
Yeah.
You know, like heavy distortion with organ. So I'll just make it.
Yeah, do it
somehow. No, I can't. You'll get bored of this.
No, it's fine. I'm just laughing because I know Dan at Gig Rig really, really well. I'm loving what a terrible job we're doing of selling how easy the Gig Rig is to use.
It is really easy once you've got it set up. It just requires a lot of hours of fine tuning to be like perfect for you. And also, if I had a spare patch, which I don't, I could just make stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
But they're all...
You've used every single patch?
Every single patch.
Wow.
To the point
I've never met anyone that's used every single patch in a product before.
You should get a free one for that.
Yeah, that's it, Dan. We found the flaw. So you have 100 patches.
We did find a flaw. That if you use all the patches, it slowed down.
Wow.
So he actually updated it for us. He's been absolutely incredible.
He's
like, we'll call it a problem, our problem.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Like we'll find a problem for us, speak to Dan, and he finds a solution.
The number of guitar players, generally pro players, who will say, "Yeah, I had this thing and we had a gig in like 3 hours time, and Dan just flew there, drove there, whatever, fixed it." Is like, I think that's why so many pro players use his gear, is because he's that guy, you know, just doesn't let you down. It's
also that thing where, you know, he's fully invested in playing. He knows what is needed.
Yes.
And I love that. So it's just a silly... Who the knows what that noise is?
I like it though. Is it not what you expected it to be?
Definitely not, no. I mean, again, there is some gremlins today. This is another thing.
You haven't got a gig tonight, have you?
No.
No, thank God for that.
I'm actually, so this week I'm going to be in my rehearsal room fixing a lot of things.
Tell us about the Gary. Come on, because that's
why. It's not why. There we go.
I like it.
It
I
was
like
me.
it. It's very multi.
It's always
like a
user error.
multi-layered. Yeah, always. Tell us about the Gary then, and how that came about as a. Have you ever done like a signature collaboration before, or is that the first?
No, definitely not. Like we've had things like people have helped us out, making like these little boxes and stuff like that. But yeah, Gary was a dream come true. Like I didn't ever imagine that this would happen, ever. I always used the grey channel.
Yep.
So I always had a grey channel on my board. That was like the grey channel and the tone job were always my ons. But because it was a 2-pedal and I didn't have a switching system at the time, and I kept standing on it, but then flicking that little switch.
Yeah.
And I always only ever used the neutral setting on the green channel. Do you think you could just, make me a very simple, like 2-knob, no switch, 1 button overdrive? So like we have our version of like a DOD.
Yeah.
He was like, absolutely. He turned up at a gig with it in America. He was like, here you go, handed it to me. He was like, I literally just made that. And I had that pedal on my board for like 2 years. So something ridiculous. No, about a year actually. It was about a year. And then we actually got talking. He was like, do you want to actually release this? And then the more we talked about it, I was like, well, should we release another overdrive?
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously.
Or should we do something a bit more exciting, and actually make it purposeful? So the left side is that. It's just an overdrive.
Yeah.
It's literally no frills. I'm really not selling it. There's no selling point to the left side other than it is very good at playing with other pedals.
Right.
This is a key thing for me. There's so many pedals there. And often I get a new pedal and I get really excited about it. I watch reviews and I'm like, yep, this sounds amazing. I put it in the board and it just doesn't work for any other thing. So we wanted to make another side. I had this like broken fuzz that went to the noise floor.
Right.
I was like mouthing these sounds to him over the phone. I was like, and he was like, I think I understand what you mean. And he did. Like he actually did understand what I meant. So
you have to now work out how to show us this.
There is a technical name for this fuzz.
Right.
PWM.
The what?
PWM.
There we go.
PWM, if you didn't hear that, ladies and gents.
I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
Pulse width modulation.
There we go. I knew that.
I knew that, yeah, absolutely.
I knew that.
What does pulse width modulation sound like with a fuzz on as well?
So let's just turn it just that on. So that's it at its like basic setting.
So he's doing that kind of wow at the beginning of the
it's like
note.
a bit of a slight bit of attack when you strike. When it does, it definitely reacts a lot to playing, and I play quite hard a lot of the time. So, and we got heavy gauge strings, so it really does.
Actually, what are they? Just I meant to ask you that first because they are heavy gauge on there, aren't they?
12 to 56.
And in a normal E tuning as well.
Yeah, for all the Gang of Four stuff. You can
can
just keep hitting.
Yeah.
So then if you turn the dial on the top, the yes style as it is, and the more you turn it, absolutely slams the noise.
So you got to find the sweet spot on there, otherwise it becomes presumably quite unusable, does it?
Yes, but I like the idea that it's completely unusable to a degree.
When unusable becomes the objective.
Basically.
I love it.
But it was more like when there's like points where so you can hit and play into it and then it will just come back to you.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really fun.
That bend was a wicked sound. Like, as in it really, we're not anything like sort of stage volume in here, but it's like that manageable chaos thing again, isn't it? It's just got that like what is going on here? It's just mental within a, like, no, that is what is meant to be happening, sort of.
Yeah.
It's
Completely.
very cool.
It's like, I love pedals that you have no idea what they do, or then you play it and it does one thing. Like another one, a good example is the Data Corruptor.
Okay, yeah.
That's
like
just,
a bit crusher type pedal, right?
That's unusable chaos. Like, I use it for one sound, like the second verse in Never Fight a Man with a Perm, it's just this, and then when I roll off, it goes, and that's it. But this giant pedal sits on my board. Whenever Jamie and I talk, he's like, yeah, you're not the only one.
I came in this morning to, anyway, having done a little bit of, just listening to some Idols stuff, just to sort of try and get a vibe of. And I said to us, I think I've just listened to possibly the greatest song name I've ever heard of all time. You Never Fight a Man with a Perm. And I said, yeah, that was probably the song that really blew the band up. So I'm just going, it's just a great name for a song. What is there a man with a perm that you should never fight, or was it just a general observation?
I mean, all of Joe's lyrics are something to do with his life. There probably was a man that he had a fight with a perm and got beat up. So,
do you remember those Harry Enfield characters that were all the Scousers, basically, that had the, I don't know, I might be showing my age. It's like, that's, as soon as I saw the name for that, I just sort of, that's who I envisaged. Liverpool shirt on from the sort of 1980s, tight perm moustache. If you looked at him the wrong way, you're going to get punched in the face, weren't you? It's just like it's a song about Graham Souness.
And then obviously I can bring in the left side.
Yeah.
Let's put the fuzz back to a...
But I think when you get that right hand side just at that point where it's just adding, what did you call it? Pitch wave modulate? I mean, I guess in that pulse wave.
Yeah.
It's like, it's easier to just go the bit where it just goes wah, at the beginning of the note, and then it becomes a sort of a normal fuzz after that. I think that's what I liked best about.
That's why I had to make noises about what I wanted, because I don't know how that's made.
The feature. I guess that's what everyone's striving for with a fuzz pedal, isn't it? It's like, no one's going to invent a new fuzz circuit, but you're looking for that. What's that 1% that makes mine slightly different to the next one? And I like that.
Well, also, again, it's all down to playing well with others for me. So not just here, but with Bowen. When you got two guitars possibly playing fuzz at the same time, one of them needs to cut. He'll use his Haunting Mids pedal, or JHS pedal, and then I'll use Gary.
So does one guitar player take on a more of a droning kind of thing, and the other players are the more choppy attacking
sometimes,
thing? Or?
I mean, a bit of both. Sometimes we'll play drone together, or bend in opposite directions, or trem picking together, big reverbs, delays, Sometimes it's just straight up distortion together.
Are you a producer's nightmare with two guitar players with big pedal boards all getting experimental sounds, or are you?
It's just fun, isn't it?
You just produce your own. Do you produce your own stuff, or is it?
Well, Bowen is
right.
One of our producers.
Right.
So recently on Tank we had Nigel Godrich, Kenny Beats, and Bowen together.
So that gives you perhaps license to play with some of the more unusual sounds, right?
I mean, it'd be weird if Nigel turned around and was like, "Don't spend any time with your pedal board right now." When he spends, and then he spent years with tape loops and tape machines, and it's like a.
It's a challenge, though, isn't it? Because I sort of feel like the music has to be. I think we're going back to that managed chaos again. That's the skill, isn't it? Is to just package lots of moving guitar tones and parts and everything into something that you can commit to a record and go, that's what we meant it to sound like.
Brian and I have we spent years trying to make the best guitar tone, fighting, trying to find that Sabbath tone, and then went in the complete opposite direction of spending years trying to make our guitars sound nothing like a guitar as much as possible, ring mods and trems and granular delays and organs, and combining them to try and make everything sound more like synths, but we're playing guitar and so on. But now we've got to a point where it's we've tried to make our guitars sound so much not like guitars. They really don't sound like guitars anymore. Just hit the string once.
Yep.
I love their pedals. So, you know, we're finding ways to sort of find the balance between the what should be what and when. So, you know, sometimes you want a horrible sound, ring mod. But then other parts of that song, you actually want, let's go that Gang of Four sound again, you know, that clean guitar, slapback delay, very in your face, which we call Genks. So during lockdown, me and Bowen made a little pedal program called Genks on YouTube. Taught people how we made our sounds, which was really fun.
Genks?
Is it onomatopoeic?
Yeah.
Is it like genk, 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 genk? Is that
Basically,
that's essentially the thing, is it?
Yeah. So, you know, like
I
loads
can't
of
believe
our
I
songs.
remembered what onomatopoeic. I can't even say it twice now, but
Spell it.
yeah, you're joking, aren't you? And do you think now that Idols will go, is it feeling like new music might step back towards some slightly more traditional guitar tones, or is it just still
It's not
very...
that, it's what's needed when.
Right.
What does the song need? So depending on what song we're writing or trying to write, we try and have purpose. You can go in completely out of the box and then just see whether or not that works, and if it isn't, maybe it needs you know, a traditional guitar sound to come in and make it sound more like us, or what we want the song to sound like.
We talked about this before we started recording, so I'm going to have to pretend to act surprised when you tell me the answer, because I know what it already is. But who do you think had the best guitar tone of all time?
Naomi. It's the greatest guitar sound of all time is Black Sabbath.
Because
clarity, strength, weight, like everything about it was absolutely perfect.
Just because of how the tone takes a simple guitar part and elevates it to just this mammoth thing. I was a fairly late, you know, Sabbath fan. You know, I mean, I certainly wasn't listening to Sabbath through the sort of, you know, my teens and 20s or anything like that. So, but I think I know what you mean. He is up there with, I mean, certainly I think if your inspirations are heavier guitar stuff, he is the godfather, isn't he, of just that tone.
Yeah. And also another thing we've talked about is that volume. One of the key things of trying to find a sound like that is volume. My early amps were like JCM 800, 100 watt, 2x12. The best it ever sounded when it was on 10. And then my SLP, Super Lead, 100 watt, again, the best it ever sounded was sometimes full, but like about halfway in volume. Once you go past 1, that's the sound. Without that, the amp is kind of useless to you. You need that volume. You need the punch that comes out of it. Trying to find that with a load of pedals at low volume is really difficult.
And you've got the loudness of amplifiers, the unpredictability maybe of the amplifiers. You've got the sort of the craziness of, you know, you got like 100 knobs that you're, you know, to start adjusting and twisting, and a switcher to control it all. And yet, despite all of that, we could solve all of that immediately by just going, here's a neural quad cortex. What is it that you just don't want to, I don't know, is it a tactile thing that you like? Is it ultimately the sound just can't be replicated? Is it volume that you have to have? I
think it's a lot of those things. It doesn't sound like a ring mod. It doesn't sound like the Kiwami. I'd still need pedals. So the only thing I'd be replacing with something like a quad cortex would be the amps. But then for us, I'd still need cabs on stage. I'd still need feedback, and I'd need to be able to, you know, work with the sound in the room. And so I don't know why I would replicate an amp when I can have the amp. Like
that's always Danish Pete's kind of thing. It's just like, I don't understand. It's like if you're trying to have an amp sound and you've got to have a cabinet there anyway, why don't you just have the amp?
Well,
it's like,
I also think that it's like, it also comes down to what type of music you play. So if I was playing really techie metal, I would get a quad cortex. Because you can get that like gated distortion that is so clean and cut that you can chug. You can literally play with clicky drums and never spill over. It's just absolutely to the T. I can't do that here. And I've tried, and there's always noise, you know, like the amps are, like the moment I just click this button, there we go. I mean, yeah, exactly.
honestly, I again, maybe it's generational.
That's volume off.
maybe it's just the music that I like. Most of the artists that I think I've really I love, I don't think they would have written the music that they wrote or got the sounds that they got without all of the byproduct of noise and unreliability and volume. And it's just, you've got to throw it all in the mixer to get, in my opinion, the sort of sounds that people like Tony Iommi. I don't think any of those Sabbath songs would have come to life if they'd have been written coming out of a pair of studio monitors and just gone, what do you think of this riff, guys? I think it had to be and then everyone went, oh yeah, let's do this. You know, I don't know. I might be wrong. We'll never know, will we? Because they didn't have that kit in those days.
Well, I mean, that's probably why it happened. There's a cause and effect to it all, isn't there? Like the reason why things have evolved is because it's been needed, but by who? It's not by me. I don't need a quad cortex, or maybe I do. I don't know.
I think there's a place. Funnily enough, the one time I think, and we were talking about this before, where people buy valve amplifiers because they see their hero, Eddie Van Halen, whatever, this is the amp we had, and then they put all kinds of devices next to it to make it quiet, because obviously in their home or whatever they can't play with that volume. Yep. And then they're just sort of, it doesn't sound that great, does it anymore? And that's where I kind of think digital, like if that's the objective, is to just play really quietly and have the best guitar sound that you can get, then just get yourself something that will,
absolutely,
a quad cortex or a version of that.
Tiny practice amp.
Yeah,
fun. There's some amazing little amps. Do you know that like Fender 85 or something? That little one with the red knobs. They're amazing. I love stuff like that. That was
my first guitar amp, I think.
I have so many tiny little amps that I think are just really fun, like the little trainer amp with two 7-inch speakers.
Right.
It's just one of these really fun things that when you turn every single dial up to full, it just sounds like the best fuzz pedal. But that's all it does, it doesn't do anything else. But you can do that at a low volume.
Well, maybe there is another way.
But then I guess, why have 17 tiny amps when you can have a quad cortex?
I think that would be a big argument
and also,
in favour of the quad cortex for sure.
I think it's also good to just be open to all of it, trying everything, because sometimes it leads to something really fun. Like that's why like having the switching system. There's so many things that I couldn't do before that I can now. Just switching between like note. If I play one note with one setting, the next note with the next setting, I have two sounds at the click of a button. Being able to do that on the fly is incredible. Things like latching and sound bursts. I can send just a burst of white noise into something if I want. It's endless.
Other than obviously buying more pedals, what does the rest of 2025 hold for you and the band?
Well, I mean, it depends when this goes out.
We'll do two versions of it. Yeah. We'll do the one that that's fine.
We are playing our big Bristol shows this weekend.
I'm seeing you.
How are you? Amazing.
Oh, as in a week's time?
This Friday.
Okay, fine. So this might not go out in time for that. So I hope you had a good time if you were there.
And then we are also touring the States with Deftones.
Oh, cool.
Which should be really fun.
Cool.
Yeah, we're doing a 2.5-week tour with them, and that's about it for now.
Oh wow! And then
this is our quietest year ever.
Really?
Yeah.
But are you enjoying that sort of just a bit of a break?
Yeah, I mean the shows have been absolutely incredible. Having a bit of time off and going back, just it fuels it. I love playing live. I love getting on stage. Some of the best moments, like talking about all these amp things, is when like hitting that noise and just standing in front of that amp while it absolutely pounds you. And then when there's like that, the jungle sound that I was doing, the chorus sound where it just strikes. There's a point when it hits and the overtones go over each other, and I'm always just, every show I'm just there like, this is so good. Yeah.
Well, that again is, if you talk about the old Hi-Watts and the Marshalls and the Voxes and Fenders and stuff, you got to remember that's what they were made for.
Yeah.
They were made to turn up to a theatre with 1,000 people in the audience or 2,000 people in the audience and just turn it up and use the reverb from the room, and just that's what. And I always, when people go, I can't believe it sounded that good, it's like that's what it was designed to do. It's like
full blast in a big room.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like you're very fortunate to be able to experience that, because I think the rest of us, when we're playing in our bedrooms or in little rehearsal studios, we're getting we're just getting a shadow of what the product is supposed to really do. You're getting to experience that is what it was designed to do. Absolutely. Which is kind of epic, really, I think. So
absolute full volume on stage is one of the greatest. I love it.
Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in. I've loved hearing your perspective. You've used the word purpose a lot during this interview, and I feel like that's the nub, isn't it, of just you've got all of these creative tools at your disposal. It is about putting them together with purpose to create something musical, and I think that's the lesson, kids, for today. I think that's how really great music is created. Have all the creative tools, but work out how to channel it into something. And it's been a pleasure meeting you, and I've enjoyed listening to, again, if anyone's watching not super familiar with Idols, then go and do that deep dive. It's a really nice collection of music, some really cool music. I'd love to come and see a show at some point or other, because I've only ever seen you on TV, and it looks like a blast.
It is fun.
Yeah, I bet.
It's always fun.
I bet.
Even when it all goes wrong.
Maybe Oz will take me.
Yeah.
Oz can be my Oz can be my young person to help me through.
Your guardian.
Yeah, my guardian.
This way, old man, to the pit.
Exactly.
Well,
all right.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
No, it's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you next time.
You playing this is hilarious, I have to say that. I've just got to remember this forever.
I don't know how it got that deep. It was only on one octave down, but it sounded like the whole thing was going to explode.
I feel like I've got a Gary Newman song. Sick. Yes!